Hi, guys. Hello, hello.
What's that, Mama?
Who's that?
Who's that, Mama?
Who is that? It's me. How's everybody doing today?
What's that one, Mama?
All the for kids.
Good.
Hi, Iris. What's happening, everybody? Make some yummy power snacks today that give us lots of energy, that help us grow. Lots of yummy things to eat today.
Mommy.
Yeah,
So most of you have the ingredients except for our friends in St. Louis. I think you guys have a version of it. And so we'll make sure that we've got our bowls. We got just need a couple bowls, we don't need big bowls. And the ingredients of a dried fruit, some seeds, I like to add chocolate chips. Even though these are healthy, we'll add a little bit of chocolate. And I like to add some coconut. So those of you who got the ingredients from me, there's some bags that have the mix, but we're going to be looking at all the individual ingredients before we dump everything in. But we're going to get started. So you guys have probably had oatmeal before, and usually I'm guessing, and when you have oatmeal, it's probably warm and soft and cooked. We're going to use the oatmeal, and we're going to have it in two different ways. We don't really have to cook it. We're going to mix it today, and we're either going to chill what we make and eat later, or we might just like it so much that we eat it before we do anything with it. And we can also bake it. So if you're thinking about baking it, you could preheat your ovens to 325. It kind of dries it out. But honestly, these things are pretty good just as they are. So you might just like them as they are. But we're going to get started with some oats. Now you have a bag of oats, and it's kind of mixed with a powder in your bags. So we're going to put oats into your bigger mixing bowl. If you have two small bowls, pick the bigger one. And within that, so I'm going to add mine, but it's already combined for you. I took those oats and I blended them up into a powder. So you probably see some of that powder in your bag. And that's just going to help this stuff stick together better. You don't have to use ground oats, but I find that it does help keeping everything together. So I have it already mixed for you in your bags. And now you can, if you want to stir those up a little bit, so make sure it's all mixed together. And then taste some of your oats. They might taste a little dry, but they're really good for you. And they have fiber in them, so they fill our bellies, and they're good for our hearts. This is why it's part of a good snack for us, because it's not something that we eat and we're still hungry after. It does kind of fill our bellies up, and it's good for us. So who likes just the dry oats? You like them just by themselves? Wow. So trust me, they're going to get even better. And we're going to keep adding some dry things to them. So we have some coconut and some dried cranberries. So I gave you extra of everything so you can taste these. Now find in there, you probably can tell which one's which is a coconut, which is the coconut, and which is the dried cranberries. Can you pick one out, a dried cranberry? And you can taste it. It might taste kind of tart, maybe a little bit sweet. So these are regular cranberries, and they dried them up. And that's just a good snack as it is. But that's going to add some tartness. You might kind of make a face like this because it might be a little bit tart. But we can add these to our dry ingredients. The other one is the white things. It kind of looks like white paper strips. That's dried out coconut. And we're using unsweetened coconut because we've got enough sweet going into our recipes. So you can taste that too. And it might taste kind of hard and crunchy, but they'll get a little bit softer when we mix them in with everything. And they add a nice flavor. Now, here's a good thing about tasting all of this. This type of recipe doesn't need a whole lot of things added to it. So after we make it today, if you're going to make it another day, you might say, you know what, I wasn't a big fan of that coconut. Maybe I'll leave that out. Or I really don't like dried cranberries. I'm going to try raisins. You can always switch things out and try different flavors to add. And you can experiment like a scientist and see if you like it. So we can add those to our dry ingredients. You can add your coconut and your dried cranberries. And like I said, those are mixed for those of you who got our ingredients. So we can mix those in with our oats. You can use a spoon to stir them together. How's it look? Good so far? Yeah. Now we're going to grab our bag of seeds. So for the folks that got the ingredients from me, I mixed 3 types of seeds in your bags, and I want to know if you can find them. I bet you can find 2 very easily. There's some green colored ones, and we can try those first. These are called pepitas. They're pumpkin seeds, but pepitas is a much more fun word to say. You guys say pepitas, pepitas. So pepitas are good for us. They're pumpkin seeds, and they've been cleaned off and everything. These are not baked or roasted. We've got raw ones. So that's one type. And I bet you find another one too. This one are smaller little seeds. These are called sunflower seeds. And a fun fact, the nut butter that we use later are actually made out of these sunflower seeds. So you can try your sunflower seed also. So those are 2 really important seeds that have different types of protein. They help keep us healthy. What do we think? You like the pepitas? Yeah. Do we like the sunflower seeds? Good. I like the sunflower seeds especially because they get really crunchy when we make these. So they keep their crunch. The last seed that's in your bag is a tiny, tiny, tiny seed. Let's see if you can find it. They're little black and white seeds. They're so small. Can you find them in your bags? Those little seeds. And taste them. They might not taste like anything. And you kind of have to work them in between your teeth to actually bite them, or else you might just swallow them. But these are called chia seeds. And chia seeds have good omega-3 fatty acids for our brain. Omega-3s just help us get so smart. And they're so good for us, but you don't really taste them. So I like to add them because they're just good for our bodies. And our bodies are saying, oh my goodness, thank you for giving me these things because I feel smarter now. My brain is healthier. I can tell everybody's testing them right now because I see everybody's brains get smarter. I see it. I can tell. So all these seeds, and definitely take a little taste of everything, are going to go into our dry ingredients, and we'll stir them together. So we've got our chia seeds and our pepitas and our sunflower seeds. Now we're going to stir those together. Everybody have all of our seeds mixed in? Good. We've got one more dry ingredient that we're gonna add. And this is our sweet ingredient. And I definitely gave you extra to taste. These are the chocolate chips. I put these in their own bag so they weren't tarnished by any other flavor. So you could eat the chocolate chips. These are semi-sweet chocolate chips that we're adding today, but you could use dark chocolate, milk chocolate, whatever you want. You could use white chocolate chips if you have those. Those are good too. So definitely take some and taste them. Make sure you like them. Gotta get a thumbs up. We got good on the chocolate chips. Do we all like the chocolate? I mean, you don't have to put it in if you don't want to. If you really don't like chocolate, I guess you all don't like chocolate, right? We don't want to put it in. So we can add those to our dry mixture. And we'll stir those in. So now, if you've had a granola bar, you probably know a granola bar is something that you can grab and bite into, right? We don't eat a granola bar with a spoon, do we? So we need to get all of this stuff to stick together. We need some glue. Should we add some glue to our food? Probably not a good idea to add glue, but we're gonna use something instead of glue. You've got two more things. One is some sun butter. And remember those sunflower seeds that we talked about earlier? Those, if I ground those up, I would get some sun butter. And you have a cup that has some brown liquidy stuff in it. That's sun butter. You could also use peanut butter, almond butter, whatever you want, any sort of nut butter. Now you can taste that. We're not going to add it to our bowl yet. We're going to put it into a separate small bowl. So take your cup of sun butter, take a taste, because I did give enough for you to taste it. And you might think, hey, that tastes like the sunflower seeds I just tried. Well, it should. I like to use sun butter because a lot of our friends can be allergic to actual nuts or peanuts for peanut butter. So we like to use sun butter instead. And actually, I prefer the flavor of sun butter. So we've got our sun butter, and we've got another thing too. We've got like a syrup. And I wanted to show you, if I can figure out how to make this work, I found a picture that I wanted to share with you. Do you see a picture on your screen right now of a plant? It's kind of spiky. Ouch! If you touch the ends, it's a bit spiky. It's big too. It's big. It's big. And these grow, I saw these when I was in Mexico. These are called agave plants. And if you cut those big green leaves, inside is like a syrup. And if you heat it a lot and you get some of the water out, it actually turns into the agave syrup that you have in that little cup. Now, our friends, Russell's cousin, you may be using honey. I think I saw you guys use honey. Honey's also good. That's not from the agave plant. Those are nicely made too for us by the bees. But I like to use agave. And before you pour the agave in, or if you have already poured in with your peanut butter, take a taste. Put your finger in and taste it. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I should be back to normal. So you can taste that agave syrup and tell me what you think. Does it taste sweet? We're actually using this instead of sugar. It's a natural sugar. I just spilled some on my table. I'm going to have to clean that afterwards. So this is going to help bring some sweet to our power bars. We're gonna pour that in with our sun butter. And then you can use a whisk and mix it together. So this is making our edible, which means we can eat. We're making our edible glue. So we're just making this sun butter extra sweet. You can take a taste of this too. This will be much better than using actual glue. I think these will taste a lot better. So it's a good thing we decided to use a food glue instead of actual glue. Once it's mixed together, we're going to add it to our dry mixture. And it's going to take some mixing because everything's got to mix together. And at first you might think, what? This is never going to mix together. It'll mix. We just kind of lightly mix it. You can decide which utensil works best for you, whether you want to use a spatula or a spoon. Sometimes you might need to have an extra spoon because it might get so sticky on one spoon. You might need to scrape it off and then continue. You might even want to use your hands. That's okay. Your hands might get a little sticky, but that's all right. We'll wash it all off or lick it off. I mean, it's all good stuff. One thing I do like to add, I forgot to add with the dry ingredients, but you can add it now. I like to add just a couple little twists of salt. I'm a big fan of salt, and I think salt's really good. It brings out the flavor of things. You don't need a lot of it, but you can add a couple twists of salt, and you definitely can put some salt next to your bowl and taste the salt, because you'll see what that salt brings to your bowl. It just helps bring the flavor out a little bit. And I like to use the twisty sea salt, but whatever you've got, that'll work. As you mix, you're gonna see it doesn't look as dry anymore. It's starting to come together. Might be kind of hard to mix. Almost like cement or glue is working really well. Now, if you're gonna use your hands, if you got rings on, I would recommend removing those. Now we have all these healthy things and then the chocolate chips mixed together. At any point in time, you should taste it. See what you think. You'll be surprised. It's going to fill you up pretty quickly. All those good things in there, like the oats, has a lot of fiber. The seeds have some fiber too. Those dried cranberries are good for us. They have some antioxidants in there, and those are good little soldiers in our bodies that help keep us healthy and fight off sick. So if you have it all mixed together, like I said, have a taste. We've got some options of what we can do now that it's all mixed together. So you could refrigerate your bowl for a little bit and then make them into balls. So that's one easy way to do it. If it's just too sticky for you, that's kind of how mine is right now. I think I'd have to refrigerate mine a little bit. You can also, if you don't need to want to make them into balls later, you can press them down into like a pan. I'm going to use my plate for an example, but you can put them into a pan and just smush them down. Smush them together. Once they're cooled from the fridge, maybe 3 or 4 hours, then you can cut them into little bars. So you could put them in a pan, put it on saran wrap if you want to, or use saran wrap to push it all down really tight together. This is the second easiest way to do it. Once they're chilled, though, like I said, they'll be less sticky and you can just cut them into pieces. They won't taste a whole lot different. I mean, the flavors will kind of meld together, but it will still have that almost raw sort of flavor if you like that, which I love. The other thing we can do, if you want to dry it out a little bit more and make it almost like more of a granola, dry granola bar, is put it into a pan. And you don't even need to press them down into the pan. You can if you want. If you want to make it like a bar, you can just put it in almost like crumbled granola. So I made mine yesterday. I sort of pushed it together into like a bar. But like I said, you don't have to. And you would put this into the oven. I put mine at 325 for about 20 minutes, but you can keep an eye on it. And you can even flip it over if you want, if you see one side kind of browning. The thing is, when you put it into the oven, is you want to be real careful, you keep an eye on it, because it can burn quite easily. My first try, I put it in, I was following instructions, and it said to put it in at 375 for like 40 minutes. And let me tell you, that's way too much. And it was completely burned. I had to throw it all away. This does not taste good burned. So if you're gonna put it into the oven to dry it out a little bit, just definitely keep an eye on it and be very careful when you take it out of the oven, because those chocolate chips will get really hot and melty. So you put it in at like, I put it on parchment, put it in 325, I'd say about 20 minutes, but you can keep an eye on it and see if that's, and then taste both ways and see which way you like better. But I thank you guys for coming. And next week, we have a special week because my good friend Jerry from Cherbourg Bakery is giving me her recipe for her zucchini muffins, which are ridiculously good. And we're going to make those next week. And she's also giving me a coupon for everybody. So if you get a kit, I'll send you a coupon. And I think she's doing a 10% off or something for your order for Cherbourg Bakery. But I always love when I can use tried and true local good recipes. And hers are amazing. So I want to say thank you so much, you guys, for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Addie from Missouri, from St. Louis. Thanks for coming.
That was fun. Thank you.
Hi,
Hi, Miss. Hi, Miss Kelsey. Hi, Freddie.
Thanks, Russell. Thanks for bringing your cousin.
Thank you, Allison. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.